folks, welcome back to the Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. So it's going to be a homestead update. I haven't done one of those in 2 or 3 months. So this is February 20th, and we just come out of the coldest extended cold time I can ever remember living here in Oklahoma, and I've lived here my whole life. So we had 10 days below freezing, and 4 days it was below zero. One day it was minus 16. We had about 15 inches of snow. Man, it was crazy cold. And you can see there's a little bit of snow left. Man, just 4 days ago, this was all covered. And I'll give you a drone shot of that right here. Yeah, man, so it was crazy cold. And I probably sound like a broken record. I've said it 100 times, but man, I've never seen anything like that before. I thought all my bees were going to freeze out and cold starve, but they're all good. We'll walk down there in a minute and I'll show you the hives and how they're doing. But I want to talk to you today about a couple things I've got going on around here on the homestead. It's kind of interesting, some things we started in December, a couple little projects. So last time I think I did an update, I was right here on this little road, and you couldn't even see, you could get through it because it was so full of limbs and debris, and we got most of that cleared out. There's still some up towards the road I want to get cleaned out of there and get that cleaned up. And there's a lot of big snags and things that are laying down here in this creek. And so I got me a big turnbuckle and a strap that you can put around a tree and run a cable through it. So I'll run a cable through that turnbuckle and down the hill and tie onto whatever I want, and I'll hook on the other end of that cable my tractor, and I can go up and down this little road here and pull the things up here where I can get to them and cut them up and get them burned or whatever I need to do. So that's one thing. So I got all that purchased, and then I ran out of gas, man, and then it got cold, so I didn't get any of that done. But for the most part, the ice storm out in the big area where all the limbs were is cleaned up. Had some help from my dad and uncle came and helped me, and a guy from work came and picked up a whole truckload and trailer load of wood, firewood, and there's plenty more if he wants to come back. So still got a bunch right here from elm trees, and I still need to clear out some of these elms in here that are dead, that just need cleaned up. So one of our big projects is, what in the world is that? My goodness. So that's a 2,000 gallon water tank. And someone guessed Ronnie from the Southern Food Junkie and Early Bird Farm thought I was making a water catchment system. Well, sort of. I want to do that eventually with this barn. Put some gutters on it and have water catchment, but first I want to see how this is going to work. So we've drilled us a well, and the well is down there, and it was drilled in December, and this is as far as we got. So I got this little trench going under the sidewalk here, and this is where the power is going to go to the well down there, and also the pressure tank's going to go inside there. So why do I have this big tank if I got a well? Well, the well does not produce much. So the guy that drilled it estimated it produces like a gallon a minute. So, which he's just saying it don't make much water, but there's water in it. So he went down 240 feet and hit shale. And in this area, once you hit shale, there's nothing below that. So he stopped there, he flushed it out real good with water and blew it out to clear out any dirt, mud that might be clogging up any little water channels, and let it sit overnight. And he hit it with the air again the next morning, and it blew out a bunch of water. He estimated it was 200-300 gallons of water. So That means it'll make like 300 gallons of water overnight, and over a few days we'll be able to fill this tank, and then we can, every few days, we'll be able to do whatever we want. I can run the irrigation for my sprinkler systems, and I can keep the drip systems going on all my trees. We can have water for the garden, etc. So we've disconnected all of these out hydrants from the city, and we left one hydrant back on the back side of the barn over there on city water. So if we want to reconnect it to city, all we have to do is run a hose from that hydrant that's behind that camper over to this hose, open them both, and city water will pressurize the whole tank well side and give us water there as a backup. So the winter garden is basically dead. It's I haven't been out here since the big blizzard. Let's go look at it. So I didn't make my little tunnels this year to keep things warm. Last year I had tunnels on both sides, and it was full of greens and it was awesome. But you know, the mild winters we have, we don't need that, right? So I planted stuff in here to just have a winter garden. So that's some pak choi there. Man, I'm surprised it's not just totally shriveled up and dead. That's amazing. But there's some there, so there's a little bit we can give to the chickens. Carrots were here. They're actually green. They may make carrots, who knows. Cilantro, that's left over. And some more pak choi out there, a different variety. And we had lettuce all out in here, but it didn't germinate because it got cold real fast earlier on. But up against that board, it did germinate. So we got us some lettuce going on there. Hey, chickies! And we had spinach going over here. Spinach never really took good hold, but we have some there. Maybe with it warming up here now, it'll start growing. There's some kale. And this corner over here was kale. And I had some volunteer pak choi over here, and I was letting it go to seed. And I was going to save these seeds and grow some more, because this is really good stuff. And man, look at that. It is mush meal now from that minus 13-degree day. Boy, that's just decimated. It might come back from down underneath there, I don't know. Boy, that's just mush. Anyway, and then we had some more greens, just mixed greens in this area. It may make a little bit of a comeback. Still need to clean up all this, get all the tomatoes out of there, and pole beans. So that's going to be the next project once it starts warming up and drying up, because it's a muddy mess right now. This is our big pile of dirt. This is a compost dirt that we purchased because our dirt is terrible out here. So over here on the composting side, we have, this is all chicken manure, and I need to clean out the chicken pen and get another layer on that. This is composted leaves and grass clippings from all last year and leaves from the fall. Stacked all that up and worked dirt into it, and it was 4-year-old dirt we'd been working on here that had it was compost that had been working. So this dirt here started out being that color there, that nasty red clay. Got a wood chipper for my tractor, so I've been making wood chips. So a lot of this is going to go up around the house and the flower beds. So our house has flower bed continuous around the entire house. So that's going to take a lot of mulch. So been making wood mulch from the tree limbs we cut down from the ice storm. So I saved the limbs, you know, that are about 4 inches down to 1 inch. And I cut all the little twigs out of it, because the twigs don't make good good wood chips, and running that through, and that makes some good stuff. So won't be long, we're gonna till this up. I'd like to put, this is the watermelon garden, and we also had a few other things, some cantaloupe and a few tomatoes that came up volunteering here. But I'd like to get some black plastic over this and do like I seen on the Haas tool page, that if you put a tarp over it, it warms it up, all the weed seed germinates, comes up and dies, so you eradicate all the weeds out of there. So I'm going to do that, and then come back and hit it with a tiller. We're thinking we might put a row of tomatoes over here this year in this area, and maybe make it a little bigger, and maybe put a Premier One fence around it, a big one. So the chickens are doing pretty good. We've lost 3 chickens to hawk attack. So my hawk fence, or net, this stuff here got all tore down. I had it all covering this whole area. It got torn down by the ice storm. So and I haven't replaced it. So what we're going to do with this fence this year, see, it goes all the way out that way. We're going to take all that down, and I got another little section I'm going to pull off that corner of the garden, a 50-foot piece, come out here, however long 50 foot will get us, and put our gate. And then I'm going to take the rest of it and take all that down. I'm going to cut this off short around this side, and we're going to take it around the back side of the garden and over on that side of the garden. So 2 sides of the garden will be enclosed with chickens in it. So hopefully that'll keep insects from coming in on part of the garden, from at least from those sides. So kind of a half of a chicken moat there. But that'll get the chickens on some fresh area and give this a break. And we might actually plant something out in here, some kind of vegetables or watermelon or something like that. So let's get down to the water well. We'll show you where that's at. So we trench, so the water well's right here. We run the trench all the way up, and right here's where the line from my outdoor hydrants that go all along here runs, the water line. So we cut that, tapped into that, and run the water well line up there. So the water well is going to put water in the tank, and that tank up there is going to have its own pump. That's the pressure pump for the whole system. The pump in the water well will be just to pump water up to the tank. So all this cost at least twice what we thought it would, because I had to do the tank, which wasn't cheap, and I had to lay extra line, and it's going to take 2 pumps, and there's just 2 of everything. So it basically doubled all of that. So we still got to come back. He needs to connect the electrical in, and I think that's it. Then we're probably going to flush it out for a little while and fill this up. These lines here don't have water in them yet, so they should not have froze. But that trench was open. There's the power line right there. So that's all run and ready to go. I'm anxious to get that going, see how that works. I got a Wi-Fi water level meter that's going to go in that tank, so I can see on my phone how much water is in that tank at any given time. So another project I've got is I bought a bunch of water lines, so I'm going to run to all my fruit trees water line, and I'm going to hook up timers to these hydrants and make drip systems on my fruit trees, because the fruit trees struggle in this dry clay soil. You know, this tree is 6 years old, I think, and that's all the bigger it is. They just, and we've got very little fruit. Let's see. Another cool thing we did was when the grandkids visited here, it was Thanksgiving, Christmas time around in there, we had them like almost a couple of weeks. It was great, and made them a little fort down here, because the teepee we had made out of tarps. The tarp just fell apart, so made them this fort. It's still not quite done, but they had fun playing in it anyway. I need to finish the front of it. We got the door made. That need to close these sides off, and this is what it is. So when it gets really wet, it's kind of a spring. You can see water dripping there. Water comes down that. So that's that is like almost sand rock. It's harder than dirt, but not quite rock. But there's a sand rock ledge there, and it's a cool little place for them to hang out. Made some little steps, and the game cameras are down in here. So how are the bees doing? Well, I thought they were all going to be dead from the cold. But I know bees can keep themselves warm, but I was still skeptical that they would survive. And it's getting kind of late in the evening, but they're still flying. So you can see here. So they're coming out doing orientation flights. Some of them are foraging. They're up there in the pollen feeders, and I just filled the pollen feeders up. So yeah, the bees, every hive has bees coming and going. I'm really surprised. No losses yet. This beehive here was so excited when they came out. They made a snowman. Look at that. Can you believe that? So we put sugar in these 4 right here. So this direction's north, and they had that north wind hitting them. So they consumed a lot of their honey stores, and they're very lightweight. I could lift them up real easy. So I put sugar in the top of all these to give them some supplemental food, and we'll start checking on the rest of them later to see how they're doing. But those 4 were extremely lightweight compared to the others. And the single deep hive down here, I was certain it wouldn't survive. Right here, it doesn't weigh anything hardly when you lift it, but there's bees coming and going out of that thing, and it has a decent population. I was really surprised, and I put some sugar on them too. All the other hives are good. The one in the woods was really lightweight, and I put sugar on that one. So bees are good to go, looks like. Yeah, so that's what we got going on. The water well's a big deal. Another update on Maggie. Remember, she had her surgery on her left leg. She was limping real bad, had torn ACL. We went in, they discovered both ACL legs, and both legs were torn, but she wasn't limping on her right side. So we got her left side repaired and done. So it was like a 2-month recovery, and like being very careful with her, especially the first month, and keeping her on leash and don't let her jump, and keeping her still. So that went well. Then she started limping on her right leg, and so her leg that was operated on became her strong leg, and her right leg is really weak now. So this week, Tuesday, we're taking her back to the same place, and they're going to do the surgery on her right leg. And it's a real invasive surgery, but it's the most successful ACL surgery on a dog. They actually cut the leg bone and rotate it and work on the tendon that way somehow. I don't know, but man, and then they pin it back together, and so that's why you got to be real careful with them so they don't break that bone, because it's held together with hardware. But anyway, we're going to get her back in and do that, and hopefully in 2 months she'll be back to her normal self and able to run around and not be gimpy all the time. We feel bad for her, but so we got that going on with her. A lot of projects, so I talked about them all. So we got the well, getting that big tank in, the drip system, and you know, just keeping up with the bees. That's what we're going to be doing this year. One other thing I did, our chicken coop door is automatic door. It goes up and down on a timer. So I got me, I wanted to change that to where it goes up and down with the sun, because as the days get longer, shorter, I have to go out and I have to keep setting the timer over and over, you know, at least 3 or 4 times each change of the season, because you wind up getting chickens locked out because it shut before it got dark enough and they were still out hanging out outside, and things like that. So I got me a little microcomputer, and I'm programming it with a photoresistor, and long story short, I make an electronics gadget to open and shut my chicken door with the sun, and add in some open and shut delay times if you want to change them up a little bit, and a manual if you want to open it or shut it manually at any time. So that's a neat little project I've been working on in the bad weather, you know, learning how to program again. I haven't done that I don't know how long, but man, programming is hard. My gosh, the brackets and commas and semicolons, and man, if you miss one little thing, it just burps at you, and it just don't work. So you got to figure all that out. But anyway, that's probably enough rambling on about the stuff here, but that's what we got going on. And looking forward to 2021, warming up, getting making some bee videos. Still got the wildlife channel, Game Cam Wildlife. I changed the name to Game Cam Wildlife because Game Cam Wildlife Recon was just a mouthful, and I don't think anyone was remembering it at all. But trying to get that channel built up. It's got 100 subscribers right now, so hey, go over and check that out, and subscribe to that if you would. I think they're really good wildlife videos, but it's an undiscovered gem. So go check that out if you would. Subscribe over there. And my goodness, I feel like I've rambled on forever. So let's end this here, and we'll catch you on the next update, and hope y'all are staying safe and take care, and we'll catch you later. Take it easy.